Hello everyone. So I did a thing this weekend. I cleaned all of my fountain pens and let them air out for 48 hours. And then this Twisby never dries inside. It's so weird. And put some of them away and pulled some of them out. There are some that I've recently put ink in and I don't need to change. But I thought since I was cleaning them out, I haven't had new inks in them in a long time. I usually put the same old thing in the pens. And I thought I would choose some new colors. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do it with you and to look at these inks and choose them. And then after I look at these inks and sort of sample them out, choose them for the pens. So I am not a really vibrant color ink user. I love things in grays, gray greens, and muted blues. Sorry, I still have a cough, so if I pause, I'm just going to turn it off if I start coughing. So muted gray blues. I also sometimes like really deep golds, like golden greens, that kind of thing. One of my very, very favorite inks was and still is the Pilot Iroshizuku Inoho, which was discontinued, sadly. I bought a new bottle of it before it left. But so I pulled out my inks, and I've got a couple that are new to me, mostly in cartridges, and some samples that I've ordered. I like to buy samples. I usually just buy samples, and then if it's something that I really end up loving, then eventually I'll buy a bottle of it. I have a big collection of Birmingham inks that they sent to me. I gotta say, the colors are really beautiful, but the inks feather. I mean, some of them don't, but a lot of them do, and I don't know. I don't tolerate that very well. So I'm going to start by swatching these inks and doing writing samples. I've just got a glass pen here. I've got a glass of water to clean it and some paper towels over here to the side. You don't need to see that. This is just a traveler's notebook in the regular lighter weight Midori paper. And so I'll start here. This was, I actually inked this pen first with this Yamabudo, and I just wasn't enjoying it. So I cleaned it out, and I'm going to choose a new one. But for now, let's just go through these inks. So the first one I have here is Ferris Wheel Press. And you know what else I need? I don't think I have a water brush here. Let me grab a brush and some Q-tips. Okay, so because I want to swap the inks, even though it really means nothing, because we're using them in fountain pens, and what we want to see is how they look with writing with a pen. Ink swatches are really fun, like this one, the Sailor Georgia that I was using in the Twisby for a while. I just kind of got tired of it, but it's really fun, but you're never going to see that when you're writing with a fountain pen. But I still like to do it just to show. And sometimes we like to use them in artworks, right? Even though they're not light fast but for reproduction work or just for fun, it is fun. So let's start with this one. This is Ferris Wheel Press. I don't want this video to take forever, so I'm not going to talk too long about these inks. You can always look them up. This is Ferris Wheel Press Cream of Earl, the Earl Grey. It was from their T series, and I bought it to use for sketching, which I do in a really inexpensive Pilot LeCool. I'm sorry, not a Pilot, a Sailor LeCool. So this is the Earl Grey. And the thing is about this ink, it's a gorgeous color, but it's really, really pale. And you'll see what I mean. When it dries, it gets a little bit darker. I mean, it is stunning, and I always put the cap right back on these. That's my only gripe about Ferris Wheel Press inks. Their bottles are really tippy. They're beautiful, but they're not practical. So let me show you. So this is Ferris Wheel. And this glass nib writes pretty wet, so I get kind of like a medium to broad, really. Ferris Wheel Press Cream of Earl. And it is way too light to use for everyday fountain pen use, I think. It's really nice for sketching because when you use it for sketching, it sort of dissolves into your watercolor work, right? You can get a really beautiful drawing, and it's even better than graphite, to be honest with you. It just dissolves right in and doesn't change. If it changes it at all, it makes it kind of interesting. So it's great for that. But every now and then I think, ooh, it'd be really nice this time of year in a pen. But look at that. It's like barely legible. So that one, I just wanted to see it again and see how it dries. Yeah, that one's just not going to work. And I actually might move to a Midori pad because this is going to get a little crazy. So this one is by Yoseka Stationery. This was their ceramic series. I've had this since it came out. I really, really love this ink. It's called Tang Mise Blue. It is a gorgeous greenish grayish blue. And I've used this ink many times, and it's really, really pretty. I had a sample of it. And they have new samples. And isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? I really love this ink. It looks gorgeous in a pen. I had it in my Yoseka Sailor pen, my special, the Yoseka Refresh in the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and it was gorgeous. So this is Yoseka Tang Me Say Blue. I'm not being neat or anything. I'm just trying to get different line widths so I see when I choose the pen. I just really, really love this ink. So for me, this is about as bright as I like to go. When it dries, it's still in that muted sort of gray-green family. Love it. I'm going to switch over to my Midori pad because I don't want to wait for these to dry each time. And then I can just rip the pages off. This is great for testing inks. All right, next up, I'm just rinsing my pen and then drying it off in between. Okay, the next one I have is Nagasawa Kobe ink, and this one is called something ochre. I don't remember the exact name, but I was thinking for this time of year, I'm thinking of the Pilot and this Kaweko, or maybe even the Kaweko Brass, something for fall. And so I've got a couple here to think about, and depending on which ink I choose will tell me which pen to put it in. So this is Nagasawa Kobe, and these samples, you guys, are like 2 pen fills at least, and then you're usually tired of it anyway. So why, unless you really, really love it and you're going to use it a lot, there's no reason to buy a bottle of ink anymore. Nagasawa Kobe, and it's some kind of ochre. I know that ochre was in the name, and that's why. See, so when the line gets finer, the ink gets lighter, right? So that will tell you, like when you're filling your pens, if it's a really extra fine nib, you want to see how this ink looks with a fine line. Oh, you know what? I should put a little swatch of this. It is really pretty. Oh, I've got unruly Q-tips on a paper towel that's just not working very well. Okay. Gorgeous. It really is. Beautiful, beautiful color. It's kind of this pearly, deep, or mid-tone, I should say, burnt sienna. So this next one is by Yoi. I'm sorry, it's by Sailor. It's called Sailor Yoi. It's a dye-based ink. This is fairly new to me. When I bought it, the swatch I saw and this color on here, I thought it was going to be a muted green with some pink undertone, some pink sheening and shading, and it's just not. It's very purple. It is pretty, but it's not at all what I thought it was going to be. So that's that. But it is a very pretty ink. And let's just see. So this is Sailor. Yoy. Yeah. It's gorgeous in the writing. I'm not crazy about it in the swatch. It has a lot of purple in it. But you see how it's very purple and gray? It's not green at all. But beautiful in the writing sample. Okay. I really like it, actually, in the writing sample. It is also fascinating when you start looking at gray inks, which I've looked at many, many times, how incredibly diverse gray can be and how exciting it can be, really. So I've got a few cartridges that are grayish. I've got the Traveler's Company Blue Black, which is just, it's a really beautiful ink. I've got the Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray, which is one of my favorites and was in here for a really long time. I think I went through 3 of these in this pen. It was a nice combination. I've got a newer Sailor Shikiori ink in Hara Hara, which is a grayish purple or grayish dusty lavender. It's beautiful. Because gray can go purple really easily. I've got Diamine Silver Fox. So these are all cartridges, all right? And I'm not going to test those out. I know what they look like. I'm pretty familiar with all of them. This is Diamine Safari that I thought might might go in here. We'll just see how it works out. And then I've got Diamine Ancient Copper, which is one of those gorgeous fall colors. Like this kind of color, but much darker. Okay, so those are my cartridges that I have to choose from. So this is another favorite. This is Waringal ink. I have 2 of their inks, and they're super gorgeous. You can see the shimmer before I shake it. I had this in a Moon Man for a long time, a mini Moon Man, and it finally ran out, and I cleaned the pen yesterday, and I just thought, I've got this Moon Man. I thought maybe I would try it in here. It's really beautiful. You don't want to use it in a good pen. This is like a less than $20 pen, so you don't want to use it in a good pen because of the sparkles, but it is absolutely gorgeous, and the name of it is Half Moon with Dimmed Light. Kim So Wool Half Moon. I mean, just the name alone is delightful, right? Okay. So let's get a sample down. It is a beautiful gray, one of my favorite kinds of blue grays. And when you write with it in a nib that has a little bit, that's a juicier, wetter nib, when you finish and it dries, it's got a very, very subtle, light gray-blue shimmer. So this is Waringal. Sorry, I write sideways. I know that's crazy. Half Moon with dimmed light. And it really deserves to be in at least a fine or medium nib. The Moon Man is on the finer side. In fact, this may even be an extra fine. I don't remember. I have to look. Can't tell. So it might be a waste, but God, they really make it hard to read. Maybe it's a medium. I can't tell. It's pretty fine, you guys. I don't know. I don't know. You know, it would also be fun in like this Kaveco, which I don't mind putting a shimmer ink in. This is a medium, but I don't really like their converters. So that's an option for the Moon Man. I would like to have a less expensive pen in a medium to broad nib that had a cartridge for this ink in particular. Because I really, really love it. You can just see already how beautiful it is. It's the nicest gray. So beautiful. This one is by Gerben. It's called Verdigris, and it's their green gray. And I've had this in many forms. I had it in cartridges for a long time, and then I got it in the bottle form. I actually got it specifically to use with this pen in the bottle form because that pen doesn't take cartridges. But let me show you how pretty this is. It's really lovely. And it's darker than you think. It is definitely gray. It's a really nice ink, actually. Beautiful, beautiful. Even in really fine strokes, it shows up really, really lovely. So that is a real contender or something. It's gray, but a little bit not gray. Okay, this one is by Iroshizuku Pilot. This is Shinkai. This color is actually blue. And you know, I had a Prussian blue. Oh no, it's a sample. No, Payne's Gray I got. So this is Shinkai. This is from the Iroshizuku line. It is a really gorgeous deep blue. So when you write with it, see how nice and dark it is. So it's blue, but it's subtle. I've got a few of this brand to show you. Those quick strokes can show it as a really fine nib. These inks are so staining though. Whenever I put them in a pen, it's really hard to get out. The Pilot inks. You can still see it in my converter for this pen. You can see the Yamabudo. It stained it. So. Okay, so let's move on. That's the Shinkai. This is called Takesumi. This is their black, and it is gorgeous. So these inks are special. Like even this dark blue, like when you move it, it has a sheening quality to it. So Takesume. And it's black. But it's gorgeous. It's got other qualities, right? It's got a reddish oh, it's so pretty. Black ink is so beautiful. Even with a really fine nib, that ink just is beautiful. So that's another, and mostly because I haven't used this one in a while. I just thought it might be fun to use. This one is also Pilot Iroshizuku. This is Fuyu Syogan, and I can't remember the English names for these, but it's like Old Man Winter. I don't know, something fun. There's two grays that are absolutely stunning. Let me show you this one. This is the cooler one. There's a cool gray and a warm gray. They're fairly light to medium toned. They get pretty light with a fine pen, but I mean, I filled so many pens with this and it's only like a quarter of the way down. That's how long fountain pen inks last, and that's why you don't need, you can really just buy samples unless you really love something. And this is the small bottle. They also make a big one. This is a gorgeous color. Fuyu. CO. So you can see when you start to write with a finer tip pen, it gets really light. And that's the only reason. Unless I'm using it in a wetter nib, it just doesn't show up enough. Okay. This next one is also Iroshizuku. This is the warmer gray. It's called Kirisame. Okay. This one is a little bit, shows up a little bit better. I have a little bit too much on the nib. But you can see, even when I go to the finer, it still shows up, right? But it's definitely warmer. So that's it for the pilots. Then this is Pelican. This is the Moonstone, which is their gray, and it's a gray that definitely leans toward violet. It's a really pretty ink though. It's like a red violet cast to it. And this is just such a nice writing ink. This is the Edelstein Moonstone. I really like their inks. No matter what you do, fine, medium, broad, it's really nice. Okay, I've got one here that I've never even opened. This is Cold Dew, and it's by, it's made in Slovenia. It's by Color of Nature Fountain Pen Ink. It is a Japanese company. Let's see what comes with a little book that shows the other colors. So it's got winter, autumn, summer, and spring colors. This is one of the autumn colors, which is highly appropriate. And they have several grays, which is exciting. Let's see here. Let me just take this off. That's nice. I don't need it. Oh. Okay, so this is Cold Dew. And this was my new gray purchase for the year. The sample looked incredible. Oh yeah. Oh. I get so geeked out about this stuff. That is stunning. Oh yeah. Actually, this would be beautiful in this pen. It shows up great with any nib width. Excuse me. I'm trying to turn it off when I cough, so that's why if it seems like I'm jumping back on, that I am. All right, so those are everything but the 3 new samples. I'm really liking that. So we're gonna let these dry, and then we'll come back later and sort of judge everything that way when it's dry with our pens. All right, so we got a few more, and these are all new to me. This one is by Califolio. It's called Gris de Pain, so Payne's Gray. I don't believe this is I don't think any of these are shimmers. I'm not a big shimmer ink person, even though I think they're gorgeous. I just don't trust them in my pens. So, oh, that's pretty. Yeah. Beautiful, subtle blue-gray. So this is Califolio. These are all new to me. Gris de Pain. Not flowing off the nib very well. That's very pretty. Really subtle color. Love that. Okay. This one is by Colorverse, Project 013, and it's called Ah Uma. And I have never used a Colorverse ink before, and I hear good things about them. So this is a great way to try it. And when I saw this, I thought it might be sort of like the Cream of Earl, just like a little bit too light to write with. But the writing samples were okay online, so we'll just see. Yeah, no, I think it's better than that one. A Uma is the name of it. Oh yeah, no, this is great. And ink doesn't need to be dark. Even with that extra fine, it still shows up enough, but it might be better in a fine. That is really pretty. So it's kind of like the Cream of Earl, but it shows up better, right? Actually, you guys, you know what? This color is what I was hoping this would be. It's that gray with a greenish cast and a little bit of pink in it. That's what I was hoping the Yoi would be. Okay, one more to swatch, and then we'll let these dry and come back. This is also by Califolio. It's called Bosphor, and it also looked really interesting. So I bet you don't think gray is boring anymore, right? Yeah, it shows up great even in the... I just want to see that Colorverse ink one more time. That's really pretty. I like that a lot. This one is intriguing me. This is a great autumn color. So let's just see what happens if I print with it. And get with a nice medium to broad nib. Just curious about the shading in this ink when it dries, when you print. I really like this color a lot. It was on sale too, so I'm wondering if it's being discontinued. Okay, let's let these dry and we'll come back and make some choices. Okay, so most of these are dry. I did put a last minute choice on here, the Diamine Snowstorm. I forgot that I had that little sample from Yoseika. And by the way, Yoseika samples are the best. They come in these little reusable glass vials, and they have a recycling program. You can send them back to them, and then you get your next one for free. If you send them back so many, I can't remember. So anyways, I'm just waiting for that to dry. It is a shimmer ink, so I'm comparing it to the Wearingeul Half Moon with dimmed light for the Moon Man. So this one we already know. I'm going to put a shimmer in here. It is either here or here. We'll see. Okay. So I'm basically going to grab a pen and match an ink to it. So for this Mandarin Coeco Sport, I had an orange Diamine ink in here for a really long time. And I have another sort of warm colored Sport. This has a apricot ink in it, which I think would actually work really well with this pen. So I was just thinking I might put the apricot in here and switch the fall colored ink into here, which already has ink in it, so I just need to clean it out and just switch the cartridge over. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that. So these are my choices. I was thinking either the Nagasawa Kobe Ochre or the Ancient Copper, because I wanted some kind of color like that. And honestly, this one is a little dull to me. I think the Ancient Copper is going to be a much better fit. And plus, it's so easy that I don't have to use the lousy Coeco converters, which I really don't like. And I can just plop it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in this pen for now, and I can switch this out later. Just so you can see how it looks. So these are really simple. You just plop them in. And I can show you this color. It is a gorgeous color. So this is Diamine Ancient Copper, and it comes in a bottle as well. But this is a nice fat writer. It's a double broad, so it just shows every ink off really beautifully. This is the Coeco. I might just leave it in here. It's so pretty. Sport double broad. Double broads are just for when you really want to see an ink, it's the way to go. So that is my choice for this one. I'm just going to leave it in here, and then they run out really quickly, and I'll flip-flop them when they're done. Fun. Okay. So next up is the Pilot, and I thought, so this has a converter. I can choose, and I can't use a cartridge, so that narrows it down a little bit. But I thought for this one, I really wanted some, that's why I use this one. It's really the reddish ink I have, the most red, and I didn't like it at all. So let's just take a look here. I mean, this could be really nice in it, the Kirasame, because it has that sort of reddish cast to the gray. And it's such a nice writer, and this is an extra fine, and it shows up really well. Yeah, I really think so. So we'll do the Iroshizuku Kirasame, and that is this one. This is the warm gray, and it does lean toward red. which is perfect because this is a burgundy pen. And this converter is terrible, absolutely terrible, but it's the only choice you have unless you want to use Pilot. But the good thing about it is that the cartridge doesn't last that long and you can just refill it with something wonderful again when it runs out. Okay. It's a Con 40 converter for this pen. It's not ideal, but this pen is so nice that it's worth it. Okay, so this is Euro Shizuku. Oh yeah, this is a nice choice. Kiri Same for the Pilot E95S in extra fine. I really, really like that choice. It's elegant, but it looks really great with a pen. Okay, so that one's done. Next, let's talk about the TWSBI Eco. So does anybody have any tips for cleaning the TWSBI Eco so all of that comes out? This had the Sailor Georgia in it, and it is a little bit stained. I should get some pen cleaner from Goulet. But if you're going to store this for a long time, you wouldn't want to store it. I guess I should just Google it. I'm sure there's a way to take it apart and really dry it. So this is an extra fine nib, and so it needs to be something that, and I'm already thinking this one, don't you think? The Yoseka. I don't think any of the other ones. I mean, the Califolia is nice with it. Yeah, I think the Yoseka, so let's do that. Such a beautiful ink. It's called blue, but it's certainly more green than blue. These pens are so easy to fill, but they're not easy to clean, I don't think. I mean, we'll see. Maybe I can find some information out. And they hold a ton of ink, so you better like what you put in there. It's a nice writing pen too. The only thing is with the TWSBIs, the TWSBI Eco anyways, I love the TWSBI Diamond Mini, but this one, it's a big pen for me, and it's definitely a big pen, but it's such a nice nib, and it's really reliable. So this is the Yoseka Ceramics. So because it's an extra fine nib, it's going to make that ink look lighter, right? See that? And this is Tang Me Say Blue, which is really green. And this is my TWSBI Eco Jade Extra Fine. That's a beautiful fit for this pen, I think. That'll be really enjoyable. Love it. Okay, next, let's do the Lamy Safari left-handed. This is the charcoal edition, and it has the left-handed nib, which is this beautiful dark nib. It's gorgeous. Really, really nice. I had a cartridge in here, so I could put another cartridge in, except I don't have any Lamy cartridges here. So let me grab a converter. I'm pretty sure I have one in here. No? I thought I had an extra Lamy converter. Here's one. Right? Okay. So we'll stick our converter in there. And let's pick a color. So let's make this one definitely a gray. I could also put a shimmer ink in there. That wouldn't bother me at all. I think, and I want to think about which one I'm going to use a lot. This is a wet writer too. Moonstone's really pretty. Maybe I'll do the Sailor Yoy. That's really nice too. Just that, because it's a wet writer, it would really show off this lovely dusty blue. Let's do that, because that's a new one for me. So the Gris de Pain. This always makes me nervous filling from these. Okay. Hopefully this isn't boring. I don't know, it's never boring to me when people do it, so if it is, you can stop or fast forward to see the end results. Okay. I'm gonna put the lid right back on this. I'm happy about this. This is pretty, and it's a wet writer, so it will work with that lighter ink. Because most of my pens are pretty fine because I have small handwriting. And this left-handed nib, I was really unsure about it at first, and I have grown to love it. Okay, so this is Calais. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Oh yeah. What a beautiful color. And it just wouldn't work with anything else, you know, with a finer nib. And this is the Lamy. It writes like a medium. Perfect. That's really, really nice. Okay. Happy about that. So now the Kaweco. This will have to be a cartridge because I do not like the converter in this pen at all. The Kaweco converters are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. So it's going to have to be a cartridge. So I'm thinking, I've got this Silver Fox, which is really pretty. This is a fine nib. I've got this. I can't use the Sailor in there. Got this blue black. You know, I'm going to use the Safari. It's such a pretty green, and it would be my only true green ink. And it looks great with the brass. I've done it before, so it's nothing new and exciting, but it'll be fun, especially this time of year. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. All right, let's see how she looks. This one always takes a minute to start up. Do you mean? I think it's a special edition. No, it doesn't say that, but I think it was. Do you mean Safari? Doesn't say. I thought it was. And this is in the Kaweco brass. It looks great with this pen. Fine nib. Oh, that looks really, really nice, don't you think? It almost looks like brass. Great choice, another great choice. Okay, we're getting down there. So now we've got the Kaweco opalescent. This is a medium nib, and it's a wet one. So let's take a look. I already used that. I'm not going to use that, so I can put this away. Let's take a look at what our choices are. This is super interesting, but I mean, no, that would have been okay. So here, the Bosphor is really pretty. Here's the snowstorm. It's really dark, and the shimmer is so subtle. On this one, the Warringal, half moon with dim light, the shimmer is really blue, and it's so pretty when you see the writing. It looks just gray, and then when the light catches it, it's got that beautiful blue shimmer to it. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's really, yeah, you can see it. It's gorgeous. So I'm thinking I might put it in here. I would have to eyedropper it though. That's the only thing. Do I really want to deal with that? Not really. Okay, we're going to put it in. No, we're going to put it in here, but we're going to do that later. So let's pick one for this. I can also use any, you know, maybe I'll do the Silver Fox. That would be very pretty in here. I haven't used this one in a while. Let's do that. I like to just use cartridges with Kavecos, unless you eyedropper them, which is possible with the plastic ones. It's just a hassle to get all the stuff out, and I don't feel like doing it right now. So I'm going to use the Diamine Silver Fox, which is a beautiful, beautiful gray. And will look very pretty with this pen. So another Diamine. I just call it opal. I know it's called something else, but and this is a medium nib. I really like the medium nib. I can't do cursive with it very well in my notebooks because I've got the grids that are small. You can see there's a little bit of that J or Ben ink left in there, but this is the color. I'm gonna write it one more time. It's just a really, really pretty gray. And it does get some shading when you write in cursive. Okay. I wish that Sailor ink cartridges were standard, but they're not, because this would be really pretty in here. But I've got a cream colored Sailor Pro Gear that I can put that in. Okay, and then we have this beauty. So let's take a look here. This pastel green Pelican. This is a fine nib, but it's a really wet writer. Never going to put a shimmer in there, that's for sure. What would look good? I'm thinking this one. Don't you think? I really like that. That might be a lot of fun for this time of year. And it's a wet writer, so it'll show the sheening really well. I mean, the Cold Dew, though, would be pretty. That would also be pretty, and I don't have that in anything. You know, I'm going to use that one because it's new. It's just such an elegant color, and this pen is so elegant. I think it's a great choice. I love, love, love this pen. It's probably my favorite looking pen that I have. I love the way it writes. It's just a magnificent pen. Very happy with this pen. It's a very glassy, wet writer, even with a fine nib, and it's got spring in it. I'm just wiping it off. All right, so this one again is colors by, actually this one says Iwi. This one, the box says colors by nature, colors of nature. I don't know. I'm gonna put Iwi. Oh yeah, pretty. This pen, it's like so beautiful. Cold Dew. This was the perfect choice. Yeah, it's really pretty. And this is a Pelican M200 pastel green fine nib. Okay. Very pretty. You'll be happy to know that I have a pen case coming for my good pens. I'm really happy about that. Okay, here we go. Finally, the Moon Man. This is an eyedropper fill. So just unscrew it, get my eyedropper. And I decided on the Waringle. It is really fun. Even with the extra fine nib, you can still see it. Just want to make sure you get it really good. And I'm just going to put 2 droppers full. Maybe 4. This is such a fine nib that it will take a while to get through this, and I don't want to grow tired of it. So the thing is with this one, every time you use this pen, you've got to shake it a little bit, and you got to be careful when you do that. So this has a little O-ring here to keep it from unsealing and to keep the ink from leaking. It's actually a really affordable pen, really inexpensive, and it's great. You can post it or not post it. It works fine either way, and it's just so cool. And once this ink starts to separate and stuff and do its magic, the shimmer will flow in here. It's beautiful with shimmer inks. So this is the Waringle. Oh, it might take a minute to start. I think I've got some old ink in there. Dry, yep. All right, hold on. Oh, I did not clean it well enough the last time. That's too bad. There it comes. Now it's coming. Okay. So this is the, no. Yeah. Half Moon. This is not a scratchy nib, by the way, even though it's so fine. And I think it's a C, no, it's an M. I think it's an M2. Extra fine nib. So when it dries and you tilt it, you will see the sparkle even on the finer nibs. I just want to write with this one more time. There we go. Now it's really in its stride here. I can see the shimmer already. It's just such a nice gray in general. And then when it dries, I can see it. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can see it or not, but so there you have it. I'm inked. Kind of fun, huh? And you can already see the shimmer starting to gather in places, and it'll be a lot of fun to see that every time you pick it up. So, Ancient Copper, Kirasame, Tang Mise Blue, Green Pain, Safari, Silver Fox, Cold Dew, and Half Moon with Dimmed Light are my choices. All right, everyone. I hope this was at least somewhat interesting, and I will see you again soon. I would love to know what your favorite ink is right now as well. I think mine, my favorite right now, I think my favorite is this Yoseka Tag Me Say Blue. It's just beautiful. All right, take care. See you soon. I'm going to give you a close-up of these so you can see them. And actually kind of shift the camera perspective so you can see that sparkle. It's so pretty. The Cold Dew is also one of my new favorites. The colors are really subtle. It's so hard to pick it up on a camera, but truly beautiful warm gray with some cool gray undertones, sort of indigo undertones. The Moonstone is always good. Yeah, these are all really nice inks. These are the writing samples. And then this one, don't know if you can see, the shimmer is just so subtle. Really, really, really beautiful. Sorry, out of focus. And then here's the rest of them. Some great colors. Did I use the Colorverse? Did I? No, I can't remember. No, I didn't. I'll have to use that one next because that is a really great color. And not a whole lot of shimmer happening in the diamine. Snowstorm. Sorry about my focus. All right, hopefully that's helpful. Just to see them a little bit more close. Take care.